Hi folks, my name's Roger Klosterman and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am a composer, a guitarist, a guitar teacher, and performer. I've written over 50 tunes and I've produced 2 CDs of music primarily described as world fusion and Spanish jazz, of which you can, if you so choose, listen to on this channel. My music's been heard on 6 continents in over 35 countries, and I've performed out well over 300 times. A lot of people who are in the process of studying the guitar or interested in taking up the guitar ask themselves the question and wonder, will I find my own guitar style? Well, the answer to that question, will you find your own guitar style? The answer is your chances are slim to none. I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, and that's definitely not a popular answer, but I don't do what I do to win popularity contests. I like logic and facts. I like to think for myself, and I am a doubter. I question everything. In general, I'm a skeptic. Gotta show me facts and prove things to me. I'm going to answer why people who take up the guitar have a slim chance to none of finding their own guitar style. I'm going to offer a suggestion of how you might increase your chances, just a possibility. And at the end of this video, I'm going to name 5 guitarists that have found their own guitar style. I know people like to have their ears tickled, and some people in guitar teachers are not exempt. A lot of people like to play the role of cheerleader, and it's kind of virtual singing so they can feel good about themselves. Well, that's not me. I've already established I like facts. Facts. Have you ever researched how many guitars are sold yearly, and then multiply that over the last, since the guitar's been popular? I know it's increased gradually, but it's hundreds of millions. Do a little research. How many of those folks have found their own voice? And perhaps you should put your ego on the shelf and be more concerned about becoming an accomplished guitar player before finding your own voice. How many of those people who have guitars find their own voice? Probably less than 3%. I think 5% would be way, way, way too generous. More facts. Let's take a look at YouTube land. And what I'm talking about is not a value statement. Nothing of what I'm saying is a value statement. People do what they do. Okay? I want to be clear about that. People do what they do. But YouTube land, how many tens of millions of guitar teachers are on YouTube land? Just ask how many of them are covering other people's songs and teaching other people's songs. How many of them have their own music, their own style? Very few. And some of them are exceptional musicians. So I'm not taking anything away from anybody. Let's take another fact. Look at all the accomplished musicians that are in orchestras. I've known many. Have you? And not all the time, but most of the time. You take the script away, and they are lost. Now we're getting to it. the script. And most of us are taught from the time we're young to regurgitate. In grade school, go by the script, parrot, mimic, and there's your answer. There's your answer. And that's not just a guitar, but I digress. That's in most things in life. People are followers. And I've never been a follower my whole life. So I know what followers sound like. And what you can possibly do to increase your chances of finding your own style of guitar. And you won't hear too many guitar teachers say this, because I take care of myself. Follow the money. You'll have a lot of wisdom in life if you go by that. So where's the money at? Oh, I got some if I show you and you learn and study with me ABC and you'll... No, it doesn't work that way. Get yourself a nice big thick guitar chord book. Get yourself a mode book. They're usually not quite as thick as the chord book. And study about 90% of the time in the dark room, exploring on your own. Get away from consuming other people's material. Get away from that. There's nothing wrong with learning other people's songs, but the chances, get away from the well-defined map. That's another way to put it. You hear what I just said? Get away from the well-defined map. That's the only thing that's going to possibly increase your chances of finding your own voice. Think of explorers 2,000 years ago. Have you ever looked at a map from even 500 years ago? I have. They're not well defined. But now all of us go by maps. It's all lined out everywhere for you. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I answered the question of why. It's not necessarily a slam. It's just the facts that people are regurgitators, mimics, and parrots. Yeah, they are. Repeaters. They're not explorers. So, and what you might possibly do to find your own guitar style. Now, for 5 guitarists that found their own voice, and for different reasons. Django Reinhardt, he only had 2 fingers. Obviously that's going to lend itself to a very unique style. Merle Travis had Travis picking style named after him. Now I digress. I mentioned earlier I'm a skeptic, and I question things. And here's why I question. Yes, it got coined after him. But can you prove to me that it was Merle Travis who is the only person that ever picked it like that? You can't. I can't either. I can't disprove it, but neither can you. I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I'm a skeptic. And the reason I'm a skeptic on that is, think of all the African American blues pickers that their work, just like African American people in general, were suppressed during that time. Do a little research in history. Sammy Davis Jr. couldn't even sleep in the same hotels with Frank Sinatra when they toured the South. I like information. And a lot of African American blues songs weren't made popular until white rock groups did them in the 60s. Do some research. I digress. Wes Montgomery. I read something on him that he would come home after gigs. It'd be late at night, and he want to practice some more, and he didn't want to wake his wife up, so he learned. He wanted to play, didn't want to play loud, so he learned to strum and pick the notes and the chords with the side of his hand. Makes sense. Someone might say, well, you just said you were a doubter and a skeptic. It makes sense because his style was so smooth and soft. Makes sense. For Tony Iommi, a little bit more musical history. Tony Iommi was in an industrial accident when he was 17 years old, and he lost the tips of his middle and ring finger, and he was told that he would never play guitar again. Anyway, he got some prosthetics, and he learned to do things with his pinky finger and his index finger that may be a little bit more unusual. And in addition, so he could bend the strings, it wasn't uncommon for him to tune his guitar down a step and a half. So that would definitely lend itself, and he definitely had his own unique style. A whole subgenre of rock and roll was named after him. You ever hear heavy metal? And finally, Eddie Van Halen. Now, you don't have to have a subgenre named after you or a picking technique named after you to find your own guitar style. But to recap, it might help you if you stay away from consuming too much of other people's material and spend a lot of time exploring on your own. That might help you. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. If you're interested in taking up some guitar lessons, you can look me up. My information to get hold of me, it's easy to do. And we can connect on Skype or Zoom. And whatever finances, things are flexible for me. Nothing's written in concrete. Anyway, again, thanks for tuning in. Wellness, wholeness, and harmony vibrations into transmission. Over and out.